Greetings Internet, it's Dustin again with my HomeKit home, continuing our series on HomeKit automations, this time looking at automations based on when an accessory is controlled. If you find today's video useful, please like, share, and subscribe. Let's get into it.
Alright, so starting out from the Automations tab in Apple's Home app, we'll tap on the plus button at the top right. We'll choose our fourth option, an accessory is controlled. And first we need to choose the accessory that will trigger the automation. Here we have all of our accessories in our home that are capable of doing this, which is anything that has an on-off power state. Except of course our switches, which need to be programmed in the accessory itself. So we'll choose, for now, we'll choose the living room and we'll choose a couch light strip, and we can see that if we hit next, we have our on-off state. Let's look at another accessory though. So we'll go back and let's choose our diffuser, our Vocalate flower bud, and we have the exact same options there. So for the purposes of this demonstration, we'll go ahead and select turns on. And now let's look at our time conditions. Of course, we can have any time, or we can choose during the day. Then we can select what day is by tapping on the I button to the right. And we can choose 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45, and then 1 hour either before or after sunset. And the same applies for at night. Alternatively, we can also select a time window in which the automation would occur. So we'll tap on specific time, and we can of course see the start time of the window and the end time. In terms of our people, we can choose whether somebody is home whenever I'm home, when nobody is home, or when I am not home. This is particularly useful if you don't need the automation to run when, well, nobody's there to enjoy it. Moving on from our conditions, we now choose the actions that we would like. We can choose one or more scenes, we can choose one or more accessories, or any combination of the two. Pretty flexible in those terms, and we can choose any sort of accessory that we have. Except of course for any accessories that are always on, like switches or sensors. So we'll go ahead here and we'll tap our light strip. So basically what's going to happen is whenever our diffuser turns on, our light strip will also turn on. And we can see that if we long press on that device itself, we can adjust the brightness of it. We can also adjust the color or the temperature. I think I'll go for blue for our diffuser here. Of course, we can test the automation. Again, this only tests the actions of the automation since the conditions haven't been met. And we can also choose to turn off the automation after a period of time. So here we're going to choose after 60 minutes. And tapping down at the top right will engage our automation and set it. So let's go ahead and check out what we can do with that automation from our list. So we'll track it down and we'll tap on the automation itself. There we go. Then we can, of course, we can adjust the conditions of the automation as we can see here. I'm pretty happy with that. And of course, we can adjust what our actions do by long pressing. Of course, we can change the color, but I'm pretty happy with that. We can test it again if we would like. We can adjust the turn off state. We can also select and add any accessories or scenes that we would like to this. But again, I'm pretty happy with what we did in the first place. We can also delete the automation if we would like. I don't want to do that there. Also, another way that we can delete the automation is by swiping to the left on the automation itself, but do be careful because as you can see, once it's gone, it's gone.
As you can see, these automations really are pretty easy to set up. Personally, I don't use them all that often, but I do have two instances that I do think they're really useful. The first is to kind of avert Apple's security measures. So for things like garage doors and smart locks, we have to verify that it's in fact us who is coming home via either Face ID or Touch ID in order for these actions to happen, which is a pretty good thing. However, what we can do with these particular automations is we can have a smart plug, let's say for example, turn on when we're coming home, and that in turn causes the garage door to open or the smart lock to unlock. The second use of these types of automations is to kind of give us a bit of a roundabout access to maybe some features that are not exposed in HomeKit. For example, iHome has a 5-in-1 monitor. It's got temperature, humidity, it has I think it has a motion sensor. It has a few different sensors on it, but one of the sensors is a sound sensor. It's not exposed in HomeKit. So what we can do is through the iHome app, we can set up a rule that when a certain decibel level has been reached, that it controls a iHome ISP6X smart plug, which is HomeKit compatible and exposed. That in turn can set another series of events, say if you have some sort of security system, and that is a way that we can actually gain access to that sensor without it actually being exposed in HomeKit. So we'd love to hear from you on how you use these automations in the comments down below. You can also hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss any of our new videos whenever they are released. You can also check us out on social media at MyHomeKitHome, and we also have our blog at myhomekithome.com. All of the links can be found in the description box down below. Well, that about does it for today. Until next time, this has been Dustin with My HomeKit Home. Wait for the dogs to stop barking. Let's wait for the dogs to stop barking. Waiting for the dogs to stop barking.